Welcome to the series of videos I'd like to call Why Do I Like Particular Ship in the World of Warships. In this case, why do I like Russian Class 2 cruiser Novik? Here it is, here you can see it. It's a pretty good ship, as you can see by the looks of it and by the design that this is a World War I, actually pre-World War I ship. And, well, on Class 2, it's pretty good. I really enjoyed playing with it. Now, let's look at its characteristics first of all. Well, the general characteristics is that you got 120mm guns, that have fast reloading time, 5 seconds, really good. You got a maximum HE damage of 1700 and 20,000 for armor piercing damage. Okay, you carry both type of ammunition. The hull you can upgrade to 14,500 hit points. It has some armor. Not that much, most of it around the command tower. Here, everything else is pretty much paper thin at that point, not really much of an armor. And you got 8 main turrets at that point. The original hull has only 6. The ability to shoot targets, you got that 10.1 kilometers distance, and you got speed of 25 knots, which is pretty good. So there you go. So, well, let's get right into the battle, and hopefully it's gonna be a short time to get into the battle, and I can show you why I really like this one. Now, the cruiser Novik is actually, well, number one, it's actually is a cruiser. Unlike the previous class ones, which were mostly something of a gunboats and the sloops as they were classed in reality. Plus, cruiser Novik was actually a real cruiser. So it's not a paper cruiser, it's not something that was designed. No, it was built in 1898, I think. Well, basically around that area. At the closing of the 19th century, it entered the service in the beginning of 20th century, the Russian Imperial Navy. Now, it was built by the German contractors who were contracted to build it, and there was 2 firms, one that built the power parts for it, and the turbines, basically all that stuff, and the other one that built the hull. It was delivered to the Russian Navy, and the Russian Navy utilized it. The original design was created specifically so that it would operate in the Far East, and specifically it would be operating to counter the Japanese threat that the Russian Empire was perceiving at that point, and knew that at some point there would be conflict between the Russian Empire and Japan, so it wanted to arm up itself in the Far East, and this was one of the cruisers was built for that specific purpose. It was supposed to also have as far as I know, torpedo launchers, and I don't think they have any. Yeah, let me double check right now. I'm just gonna remember. Yes, it's supposed to have a torpedo launchers on it in the reality, but later on they were removed apparently. So they put them on and they removed them later on. Okay, so that's why you're not gonna see any torpedo launchers here. And it's taking a while to find a match, hopefully, but we'll get into it very soon. As such, the cruiser served throughout the whole Russo-Japanese conflict. It served out of the Port Arthur, and later on was sunk when it was tried to break out from the Port Arthur to go to Vladivostok. The reason it was sunk is because it faced a combat against a Japanese cruiser that was a superior in terms of quality, because it had way more armor, and as such it sustained so much damage that they had to pretty much scuttle the cruiser, but they didn't blow it up, they just pretty much sunk it. And what happened later on is that the Japanese actually raised it up, put the new turbines on it, because I'm guessing the old ones were at that point ruined. And because the Russians, before sinking the ship, took all the guns off, they put the new guns on, and so on. Now, I don't think there was ever a time, oh, there's gonna be one cruiser against another cruiser with 2 destroyers in tow type of battle here. I don't think there was ever a situation where actually the cruiser had 8 guns, like we have here, seeing, right? That, I think, is a bit of a, well, created for purposes of the game. But otherwise, it's you know, it's pretty accurate. It got the Imperial Eagles on it. You can see. So all that. Let's go to 1/2. Gonna go join the destroyers actually. So let's go do 3/4. Now I'm gonna show you exactly why I like this ship. And as you can see, besides having good speed, it has. This thing has actually a very good turning speed. With a good turning speed, especially on this level of on this in the class 2, is very important because now you're facing a lot of ships that carry torpedoes, and they pretty much want to torpedo you all the time. If you want to avoid torpedoes, ability to turn is very much important. As you can see, we're all kind of grouping up together right now. So let's see if we can see an enemy. Allied destroyer decided to launch its torpedoes that way, so that kind of block off that section of passage. There we go. We got an enemy. Oh, can't do anything there. Destroyer. Let's turn around so we can get our guns on it. Destroyers are pretty quick moving. We need to give them a bit lead time. And in this case, they also have a tendency to turn. Now, there we go. We shoot off our first one. Miss, but we're already ready to shoot again. This is what's beautiful about this ship. Its ability to quickly fire off is important, and having both armor piercing and high explosive shells is also very much important. Oh, he's gonna get it. And my shells were not even required. This was great. This is great. Let me see what was where's a well done.
Good game, everyone.
All right, here's something that we can actually sink our teeth in. 4 seconds out. We drop to 1/4. Here it is, our quick firing capabilities, and we constantly shooting at the enemy, constantly doing damage to them. Now they fired back at us, so we're gonna speed up a bit. We're gonna turn. Our ability to turn gives us protection against the enemy's strikes.
Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes to port.
All right, we closing in. We should not be closing in that quick, that close. But he's on fire now. And the torpedoes get him because he was not paying attention. Great. Right there.
Good show.
Now we're gonna turn around. This is not actually the best way to do this because the reason is that we should have been firing at a distance, letting him hunt down the quick-moving destroyers, which are much harder to shoot. But now we're gonna give a bit of a welcome to that remaining destroyer right there. Also, having a lot of guns helps in the fact that I can spread my fire around. And it looks like you're not gonna even touch him. Yeah. Well, the destroyers did a lot of the work here, but what we did, where we survived based on, was the fact that we had such a fast firing ability on our ship, and the fact that we could maneuver very quickly. What allowed us to do this. Plus, the speed allows you to quickly change from one side of the map to another by running from one side to a map to assist you other teammates, and we're gonna be on the bottom here. Yeah, other guys did all this heavy lifting. This guy specifically, but you know that's what this ship excels at. No, I wish I could show it a bit more, but I tend to do one battle per video. But there you go. No, I like this ship because it delivers a lot of ordnance at a very nice speed. It does have a bit of an arc to that ordnance, which is not very nice because it slows it down. But generally, you have a quick reload time. You can fire off a lot of shells. All that does a great amount of damage, and you can maneuver very quickly. What else would you want in a ship? Alright, thank you for watching and for listening.